Welcome back to Good Morning Colorado on your Saturday morning. It is 8:14. Here's a live look at our Viera Wireless Weather Network camera in Pueblo. The Steel City definitely going to see some rain and snow today and into tomorrow. We do want to check back in with Storm Tracker 13 meteorologist Marty for the latest on this snowstorm, and taking a look at our APA Eye Care Weather Network camera here in Colorado Springs. A little bit foggy to start.
Yeah, the fog's lifted a little bit. You've had some freezing drizzles, some freezing fog throughout the night, and there have been some spots maybe on the walkways that are a little slick, but Woodman Road, like a lot of roads in Colorado Springs, is at the most part just kind of damp right now. So travel's not too bad right now across the city, and one of the reasons for that is our temperatures are around or a little bit above freezing, and that's true in much of eastern Colorado. Coming down a little bit now in Walsenburg and Trinidad as the precipitation is beginning to come in. Over the mountains, we do have a mixture of 20s and 30s this morning. Futurecast has done a pretty nice job of showing that first area of precipitation beginning to lift north across the state as the first primary wave from this system comes in. Have some showers and thunderstorms ongoing over eastern Colorado. Some of these could get strong enough to produce some decent sized hail, maybe even some strong wind gusts around 60 miles an hour. So we could have a little severe weather out here in Baca and Prowers County. But the bigger story, I think, for most areas is going to be the precipitation falling nearer to the Front Range. And this is going to be very beneficial precipitation. Everybody's going to pick up a pretty good amount of water out of this. But then, of course, this time of year, we end up dealing with snow, and that causes travel impacts. So wave one kind of starts heading up towards Denver, where it situates. We may get just a little break, but not long, because another little spoke in these waves rotating around this storm will come up right behind that, and then we'll probably see things fill in again. So we should have pretty consistent precipitation starting shortly and lasting at least into the early evening hours. And by the time we get through early this evening, say about 8 o'clock or so, I think we'll be up around 3 to 6 inches, maybe 4 to 8 inches of snow around even Colorado Springs and Denver. It'll be a wet snow, and a lot of that might be melting from underneath. On the roadways, I don't think you'll have nearly as much as you'll have on the cooler surfaces. But we could have some snow-covered or slushy roadways that would impact travel, and any heavier bursts of snow will give you some real large flakes and maybe knock the visibility back. Notice we won't see nearly as much of that snow accumulating along the Arkansas River. It's a little warm, so we'll have some more melting. But I do think with the heavier burst, we'll get some snow even in Pueblo today, and we could whiten up at least the lawns. Canyon City may be a little better chance to slush up some roadways. Then we transition from the warm phase of the storm kind of onto the backside of the system where the colder air and the winds start to become more problematic. And typically when we do that, it kind of shuts down precipitation with the northerly flow around Colorado Springs and Pueblo, but because the circulation is right on top of us and there's a lot of instability associated with it, I'm not ready to just go ahead and sound any all clear. So we could continue with some intermittent bursts of snow, even at lower elevations around the Pikes Peak region into Pueblo through the night. But I do think snow will probably be more consistent up on the higher terrain surrounding both Colorado Springs and Pueblo, with additional accumulations of snow likely on the order of maybe another 2 to 4 inches through the night. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, we could see numbers on the order of maybe 10 to 12 inches around the Palmer Divide. And as you get east of the interstate, a few spots might be higher than that, especially as you jump County Line Road into Elbert County. Around Colorado Springs, as I mentioned, probably 4 to 8 inches. Notice that we don't have huge amounts around Teller County on the other side of Pikes Peak. It's because this first wave of precipitation, the heaviest of it's kind of skip off to your east. But that doesn't mean you're done. This is by tomorrow morning. We'll get more snow during the day tomorrow. Along the Arkansas River, probably 1 to 4 inches, mostly on the grass. As you get closer to Canyon City, I think better chances that those numbers will go up some and we could have some slick travel. We're also expecting some bullseyes of heavier precipitation at the face of Greenhorn Mountain, so places like Rye and Beulah maybe pick up about 4 to 8 inches. Lesser amounts, I think, around 2 to 4 inches along the southern I-25 corridor, maybe heavier back towards Levita Pass. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, we'll have 20s to lower 30s, so it'll be colder. The wind will be starting to pick up in some areas, so some more blowing and drifting and maybe crunchier roadways should be found, and that'll be another thing to add to our travel woes. And we'll talk more about what happens during the day tomorrow, and actually into next week we get another chance for some snow. That's coming up here soon. Guys, back to you.